What's up? I'm Ashley, and we're going to break down from Season 3, Episode 3. So let's get into it. The episode picks up where it left off with Jim on the phone with Thomas. Thomas is saying, "You need help, Daddy? Why did you let Mommy go? Why did you want her to die? You should be watching Julie and Ethan. It's getting dark outside." Now, even though this is not really Thomas, there's no way. He still has an annoying voice, just like Ethan. And he's just as annoying as Ethan is, too. Always got a question. But I'm interested this time because what did he mean by why did you want her to die? Is he talking about Tabitha? What was going on in this marriage? Or he could have been talking about Julie when Julie was possessed. Maybe Jen was thinking it's better if she just go. She annoying anyway. But after hearing it's getting dark, Jim throws down the phone and runs outside and starts calling for Julie and Ethan. He's like, "Get in the house, get in the house, it's getting dark." And while he's out there finally being a father, Boyd is ringing that bell again, talking about getting the house. And he's looking at Jim like, "What's wrong with you? You okay? What's going on?" Jim is like, "I'm talking to my kids." For once, he's like, "Get in the house." And before going in the house himself, he turns around and says to Boyd, "Things are getting worse around here, aren't they?" Boyd just looks at him, nods his head like, "Yeah, obviously." But what just annoyed me about Jim, because, well, he always annoys me, but what just annoyed me again, he didn't tell Boyd that my dad's son Thomas was on the phone with me. Why he didn't tell him that? These people in this town never talk to each other and tell each other what they know. They all get on my nerves. What's wrong with them? Henry gets woken up by Tabitha dropping a glass. She's been down in the basement all night looking at those paintings. He's like, "Have you been down here all night? You need to go to sleep." She tells him, "I just need to get some clues. I feel like I'm missing something." He gives her a band-aid for her cut. Then they start talking about the lighthouse and how she got here through a tree. Then she notices the bottle tree in the backyard. I told y'all in my trailer breakdown that the bottle tree was going to end up being in Henry's backyard. I won't toot my horn, but toot toot. Then we go to Victor with his map and a shovel, and we see him digging up something. Boyd tells Ellis his plan on how he wants to catch a monster. He tells him, since we hang up a talisman to keep the monsters from coming in, maybe it'll keep them from coming out of something. Ellis is telling him that this is a bad idea. He reminds Boyd that he almost died when he spent just one night out in the forest, and then everybody else almost died. And before Boyd can fully explain his plan, here comes Donna walking in wanting to know what's going on. Again, she always want to know what's going on. But first, she tells them Christy, Kenny, Dale, and Jay, and some other people all drew straws to see who was going to go out there and bring the rest of the food back. And they should be down there by lunchtime. He then tells her his plan to catch one of the monsters, and she's like, "No. Oh no, this is a bad idea." She never likes nobody idea, but she don't ever got one. Boyd says, "We already know they can talk, but this time I'm gonna make it talk." She said, "Oh, you gonna make it talk? How you gonna make it talk?" Standing there with her hands in her pockets like always, talking about, "Oh, so you think you can torture it? We shoot them and all they do is smile." Boyd's like, "Well, I gotta do something." She's like, "Well, what you gonna do then?" He said, "I'm working on it." Donna looks at him with a straight face with her hands in her pocket and says, "Work harder." You know what, Donna? Get out my face. Just get out my face. What's wrong with her? Huh? Why is she like this? At this point, Monster, come get her. She ain't nothing but a Debbie Downer. I'ma start calling her Debbie Downer Donna. D. Clara offers Fatima some food, and Fatima is disgusted by it. She look like she want to throw up. But instead, she decides to walk outside to that big pile of rotten food and eats that. While she's chowing down on it, old lady Tilly is peeking at her behind a sheet. And of course she is. They need to find a way to write up restraining orders in Fromville. She a little creep. We all need to watch out for old lady Tilly. We get to the food group, and Jade points out that the voodoo statues are set up similar to how they set up their talisman. Dale is the only one out there thinking. He's like, "Oh great, let's just walk past the creepy voodoo statues to sort out some veggies." But then again, do you want to eat or not? Jim is making him and his kids some food. And then there go Ethan again with his annoying questions. Who's gonna bury Mom's body? What if her body's just laying out there to rot with bugs and spiders in it? Jim turned around and looked at him with a look and said, "Ethan?" But Ethan kept on going. What if somebody sees her and don't know who she is? And all they find are her bones. Jim said, "God damn it!" Slammed down all the bowls. "Stop!" Ethan want to be a little crybaby and walk away. Then there go Julie wanting to get another attitude. Great. Father of the Year, huh? Well, you're sure not getting an award for Daughter of the Year. Right after Ethan and Julie leaves, the phone rings again. But Jim doesn't answer it this time. He just slams the phone down. We get outside with Tabitha and Henry looking at the bottle tree. Henry tells her this is just one of Miranda's installations and that she has a few of them all around town. She tells him the tree she got here in, you were able to step in it and it will take you somewhere else. But this is just a regular tree. He tells her, well, this isn't the original. She made a replica. She just liked it so much that she wanted it closer to her. And that's why she wanted it in the yard. He tells her the original tree is about 30 or 40 minutes away at a park. He tells her that could have been the tree that started the whole thing because that's where they first did acid. In episode 2, he does mention to her that once they did acid, it's when Miranda started having all these visions. Tabitha says, take me there right now. She can barely walk, but she's trying to go somewhere. Dead-ass Father Khatri pops back up and tells Boyd, you really think you can catch one of those things? You've survived here for a year and a half. So why you want to switch things up now? I'm like, is he related to Ethan? He goes on. He says, at least you have a solid plan, right? Psych! You really think hanging a talisman on the door is gonna work? Trap them in a house? You walk in there and then bam, you dead. Get attacked by all of them. I see why the military trusted you. Psych! Then he starts going in on him about his memory board he's making. I really like your fancy art. Boyd is like, I'm trying to write down the names of the people who died here. You know what? F off. While Sarah is trying to put back together that little gnome her brother gave her that Kenny broke, Victor knocks on the door with his suitcase, and it turns out that's what he dug up. Sarah's like, what are you doing here? Because that's really odd. He says, do you have a bedspread? Because we're going to build a fort. Then I'm going to tell a story. Oh, so now you want to talk. Old Lady Tilly knocks on Fatima's door. Fatima says, I don't want to be bothered right now. Old Lady Tilly says, I used to lick eggshells and hide them from my husband, trying to make Fatima feel better that she eats rotten food. But girl, you know that don't compare. Fatima decides to let her in. Then there goes Old Lady Tilly walking in with her fanny pack on. While Fatima is crying, she's saying she has no one to talk to. She can't even talk to Ellis because he's just so happy and encouraging. She says, what if something's wrong with the baby? Old Lady Tilly says, every first-time mother has these feelings. Creep. Old Lady Tilly tells her, well, let's find out if something's wrong with the baby, when she already know. Henry and Tabitha get inside of an unlocked car. Must be nice to be able to leave your car unlocked. And they head off to go to the original bottle tree. And what a coincidence, once he starts the car, a song comes on that was Miranda's favorite song, which turns out to be Jim and Tabitha's song. Dale is complaining that the whole thing was rigged and says Donna already knew who was going to pull the short straws. Then he starts complaining that Jade isn't helping them pack up all the food. Dale says, everyone is going through something here, not just you. Walking around here like you're some kind of a big shot because of your rinky-dink company back home. Well, guess what? You here now. Jade says, you have no idea what I've been through and what I've seen. Then he walks off and sees something else. While he goes to pee, he sees these huge stones painted red. And for some reason, he decides to touch them. And after he starts to touch them, is when he sees this man stuck to a tree with something that looks like a knife stuck through his eye. Now, why did Jade decide to walk up to it? I don't know. He's stupid, and he's supposed to be smart with his company. The man stuck to the tree snatches Jade right on up by the collar. And as he's getting snatched up, Dale comes walking up, but Dale only sees Jade over there by himself, swinging at the air. He said, what's wrong with you? Christy goes to check on Kenny, but Kenny don't want to hear it. He said, where your bag at? The one you're supposed to be putting crops in. Where it's at? Is it full? What you out here doing? But getting on my nerves. Dale comes running up with Jade as Jade is saying, I'm going back to town. Kenny tells him, you'll never make it back before dark. Jade says, I don't like it here. If I run, I'll make it. Then starts running. Christy runs after him because Jay's running the wrong way. How you gonna try to go home when you don't even know where home is? Kenny said, just let him go. If he runs, he probably will make it. While Christy is running after Jade, Christy goes and get her legs stuck in a bear trap. Now Kenny is mad at Jade, talking about, what did you do? Christy says there has to be some kind of a release to get me out of here. Jade finds it, he pulls it, and it breaks. Of course. Ethan is at the diner and he has found himself another older friend. If his friends isn't old, then they're a goat. Boyd walks in and Ethan lets him know that they're just putting away things the way Tension would have liked it. When Ethan goes to the back, Bacta says to Boyd, does it get worse? How he supposed to know? Is he a psychic too? Boyd says, I don't know, but whatever happens here, we will win and we will find our way back home. Ethan walks back in and says, what if there isn't one? Boyd says to him, well, there's a way here. If there's a way here, then there's a way home. Ethan says, you don't know that. You just hope that it is. Then Shin thought she was going home. And so did Mom. Boyd tells him, we are not giving up on your mom. Ethan says, maybe you should. Ethan, go. They're still trying to get Christy out of this bear trap, but they're all arguing. But then Jake gets an idea and he takes Dale with him. Old Lady Tilly brings out her tarot cards and tells Fatima this is how they're going to find out if her baby is okay. Fatima says, are you serious? How dare you? You know, your whole kooky, batty, Tilly thing you got going on here is okay in most circumstances, but not now. Old Lady Tilly tells her, is that what you think of me? Kooky and batty? Because she's really thinking, oh, you got it wrong. I'm evil. I'm a monster. I'm about to kill you and take over that baby. But after some manipulation, Fatima does let Old Lady Tilly use those tarot cards on her. I was thinking, now why does Old Lady Tilly have some tarot cards? But she says some girl named Gertie gave them to her who was in the same hospice care as her husband. She did a reading on her and claims that the cards told her about her cancer in this place. Old Lady Tilly tells her to ask her first question, and Fatima's first question is my baby okay? And before Old Lady Tilly can turn the card over, a crow hits the window. Fatima's like, what was that? But Old Lady Tilly saw it. She didn't say nothing, no. Old Lady Tilly attempts to pick up the card again, and when she does, the crow flies right through the window, busted it right on open. Everyone is running, ducking, and hiding until the crow flies into the wall, killing itself. Now, someone in the comments, and I wish I had their name, but they pointed out that Elgin is wearing a shirt with a crow on it. And I'm like, how did I miss that? What are the odds? That cannot be a coincidence. Jay's idea was to break one of the metal rods from one of the voodoo statues to free Christy, and it actually worked. But now her ankle is dislocated, and now they have to align it back together. As they're preparing to do so, that's when the man stuck to the tree pops back up, and now Jade is left in a daze. Jade watches him drink blood from someone's skull, and I'm like, where'd he get that skull from? Whose is it? But this time, that knife isn't stuck in his eye. So I'm thinking, is this his blood? Christy notices Jade isn't paying attention and tells him to focus. And that's when they're able to align her ankle back into place. Randall is on the bus and he sees a cicada. Then all of a sudden, he's surrounded by cicadas in the bus. So he starts swinging, ducking, hiding. And that's when Boyd walks onto the bus and he said, what's going on? Are you okay? Just the other day, you was tripping with the animals and now you over here swinging at something invisible? Randall says, what do you want? Boyd tells him he wants to switch for the night. Boyd wants to spend the night in the bus, and Randall can have the station. Boyd tells him he wants to see the monsters walk out at night. It's time we start to change things up around here a little bit. While Henry and Tabitha are on their way to the bottle tree, Tabitha reaches inside of the glove department for some crackers because she's car sick. As she does this, she sees the bracelet she made Jim. It's the same bracelet Jim lost at the hospital when Julie was born. Then it popped up at the diner, and now it's inside of Henry's car. She starts freaking out. She's thinking Henry is in on the whole thing. She's like, I'm not really in Camden, Maine, am I? I'm getting tortured. The place is torturing me. Pull over, pull over. Henry pulls over but tries to convince her to keep on going. He's like, we're almost there. The tree is just down the street. You done tell me all this about my son and my wife? No, we going. So he decides to floor it. And then bam, they get into a car accident. Tabitha wakes up inside of an ambulance. Henry is having some trouble, but they're monitoring him. One of the paramedics tells Tabitha the police has been out looking for you ever since you up and ran out of that hospital. And we know it's you because of this lunchbox. While Tabitha is saying, I don't want to go to the hospital, let me out, the ambulance comes to a stop because there's a tree in the middle of the road. Tabitha's like, no, 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 no. Oh my God. And just like that, she's back in Fromville. And I need specific details on how. Maybe since they weren't too far away from the original tree, when the ambulance came to get them, and the tree somehow swooped them up right on in it because of there being some kind of a portal around it. I don't know. But y'all let me know your thoughts and theories on this episode down in the comments so we can talk about it. And if you haven't already and want to see more videos like this, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Thank you for watching this video, and I'll see you in my next one.